Most of my clients are recovering overthinkers. If we're going to put a pin in it, they're entrepreneurs in spirit and they want to know the how, and they're recovering overthinkers. So my first thing is, okay, we're not going to think anymore, because if you had been able to think your way there, we would have done it already, correct? Can you agree with me on that? And so then it becomes about, you really don't need to know the how. We want to know the bigger picture on how I'm going to get from here to there. And the truth of the matter is, you only need to make the next step. And you only get the next step when you take the first step. And we never really know, even when you feel like, oh, I kind of know how this is going to work out. You don't know that. You just think you know that, and it calms you down. So that's where I really cultivate, instead of self-reliance, universe reliance.
Welcome to the House of JerMar Podcast, where wellness starts within. The House of JerMar is a lifestyle brand empowering women to live all in through interior design and personal wellness. We are a destination for women ready to reimagine what is possible in their homes and lives, and then create it. We are honored to have you join us on our mission to empower 1 million women to live all in. I am your host, Jean Collins, and I invite you to become inspired by this week's guest. Welcome to the House of JerMar Podcast, where wellness starts within. I'm your host, Jean Collins, and today's guest is Julianne Lee. She is a transformational coach, and we are going to talk about some really incredible subjects that I really love, which is like inspired action, and how do you not just sit back and wait for the universe to deliver something for you? How do you do it? She's a coach. She works one-on-one. She has an app that you can get. She has so many interesting things that we can talk about. She is friends with Tara Lori. So those of you who are listening to this, Tara Lori was a podcast guest of mine several months ago, and I just adore her. I think she is just a magical human being. So anybody who reaches out to me that says that they are a friend of Tara Lori's, I was like, you are on. There's got to be something really cool about you. So Julianne, it's so nice to meet you, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just an absolute joy to be here. It's really great. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time, and your website and your bio are super impressive. So your bio will be in the show notes for everybody so they can read all about it. But I always love to start off with sharing what your career journey is, because we don't all start out one day when we're 18 years old saying, I want to be a transformation coach and I want to work on inspired action and mindset and helping people manifest and create things. So share with everybody a little bit about your career journey and how you got to be the entrepreneur that you are now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no idea of what a coach even was. I mean, for myself, I just had this, I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, and it was so painful to me. Like when someone knew what they wanted to be, I'd be like, why are you not doing it? Do you understand? Like, you don't know what your passion is. You don't know what your purpose is. How could you know it and you're not doing it? So that was just kind of who I was all the time. And I came over here originally from Australia to Los Angeles. And my thought at the time was I wanted to make movies. And so I got into that industry a little bit. And then I realized I was kind of just like coaching people. I didn't know it was coaching, actually. And then I actually heard of someone got told in the house with a life coach. And I was so judgmental. I was like, life coach, like how woo-woo ridiculous is that? Like, you're going to tell people what to do? Like, that's just crazy. And then, so I've always been searching, reading, from back in the day, Deepak Chopra and The Artist's Way and all these things. I've always been really interested in that spiritual path. And one night I was like, a friend told me to write, a letter to the universe. So a letter to the universe, and back. So I write, dear universe, what brings me joy, and how do you want me to be of service in the world? And I was like, blah, 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 blah. Life coach. And I'm like, nothing I'm really interested in. Okay, next night, blah, 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 life coach. I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this life coach thing? Third night, life coach. I'm like, okay. So I Google life coach. This is 20 years ago now. And just down the street, I lived in West Hollywood at the time, just down the street at this mystical like Bodhi Tree bookstore, there was the IPEC, Institute for Professional Empowerment Coaching, was having a talk. And I was like, well, I asked, it's free. How do I not go, right? So I go there and he talks and I'm like, oh, this is what I do. It was like spiritual. Life coaching isn't about telling people what to do. It's about the answers are in you and I get them out, which is what I was doing all the time. And at the time, I mean, I think back then it was like, I want to say it was $8,000. And I was, living, paycheck to paycheck. And I think I had a credit card with $8,000 on it. And I can't even believe I did this, that I was like, I signed up for this year course. And it took a little minute, right, for a little crossover. Like, I was like, what do I do now? I went to a couple of networking groups and started coaching a couple of friends. And then it just kind of grew, and just sort of come to like 20 years later. And as you said, what's a transformation coach? Well, for me, a transformation coach is like, you are this way, and then you become what you actually truly are, without all your fears and insecurities and lack of self-worth, basically. So you transform into the life that you're actually meant to be living, which, I have great experience in that. So it's kind of like how I got here, which is just all hilarious, really, when you look at it.
Oh, but I love your story. You are not the first person that I've spoken to that has commented about making an investment in themselves and what they feel like is supposed to be their path when they feel like they can't afford it. And they do it anyway because something draws them to do it and to just figure it out. And I love that you shared that part of the story, because it demonstrates that not only did you not have it all figured out, like it wasn't like you waited until you had this money. You jumped in with 2 feet. And then we're like, somehow it's going to work itself out. And I wonder if that helps attract clients to you because of your approach of that, instead of I'm going to wait until everything is all aligned and it feels like everything's ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think youth might have helped a little bit there as well, to be honest. I think that happens. Like, I've got friends and stuff, right? And we're like, well, one just took off to travel around the world, and she's, mid-age, and she's like, wow, I used to do this. I'm just a little bit more thoughtful of it, but she's doing it anyway. But with regards to your question about, a lot of people, and I will say most of my clients are recovering overthinkers. If we're going to put a pin in it, they're entrepreneurs in spirit, and they want to know the how, and they're recovering overthinkers. So my first thing is, okay, we're not going to think anymore, because if you had been able to think your way there, we would have done it already. Correct? Can you agree with me on that?
Of course.
And
of
they're
course.
like, okay, yeah, right. And so then it becomes about, you really don't need to know the how. What we want to know is, we want to know the bigger picture on how I'm going to get from here to there. And the truth of the matter is, you only need to know the next step. And you only get the next step when you take the first step. And we never really know, even when you feel like, oh, I kind of know how this is going to work out. You don't know that. You just think you know that, and it calms you down. So that's where I really cultivate, instead of self-reliance, universe reliance, because that really calms people down when you increase your trust in yourself. And I think of universe as like in your highest self, the extension of you that's connected to all. So if you're tapping into that power, you might be able to relax that there's a better knowing of the next step. And so when you get inspired with that thought, before you talk yourself out of it, right? Before I talk myself out of, what the hell are you doing? Like, how are you going to pay back this $8,000? Like, before I was down on the table, right? I trusted the impulse. Yes. And so, because I knew it was from faith. So I always do that gut check too. It's like, there's the impulse. Is this faith or fear? It's faith. Okay, do it. So it just becomes this taking leaps approach to life. And then as you accumulate the experience of it working out, your trust in your not needing to know definitely develops. But it's a practice, ongoing practice.
Oh, ongoing. Yes. I can relate to so much of what you said, because I've done all of those things. And having to trust myself is a constant exercise. And I think so many entrepreneurs, and especially female executives, like, overthinking is like the name of the game. It's like, we plot, we plan, we're type A. And it's like, the universe is not type A. So it's learning how to not be that way is really where a coach like yourself is so helpful.
Absolutely. And because it is about action, right? It's about action, but it's got to start with the thought and belief first. And that's most of our work. And that's why I call my app Allowing, because it's not about doing and making something happen. It's about letting it come through. It's almost like, I've got this one client I was working with, and like, things are unfolding so easily. She's like, it feels weird for life to be so easy. Like, I've thought and worried about so many things for so long that, and I say this to clients, I'm like, when things start happening, you're so used to living in the wanting that having is weird. Like, it's strange. That's when you'll see people get into self-sabotage. It's like, we're not practiced at having, we're practiced at wanting. Right. So it's such a fun journey. It becomes a whole game, really, of life.
Well, and we expect it to be hard.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if something is not hard, it feels weird, at least to me. If it's not hard and you don't have to work hard for it, then it feels weird. Like, okay, where's the catch?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is. And that's both from internal experiences growing up. We get that message. And then it's sold to us, every which way and shape with the propensity and the pace at which the world is gaining momentum at. And,
Right.
and so it's really challenging to stay steadfast in, I'm enough, I do enough. And from that place, that point of attraction, that's your true power.
Yeah. How do you help people? Because you've mentioned this word and it's in your bio too, self-doubt, which I think is a really big one for
Self-doubt.
people. So if you would mind talking about, give us some examples of how you help people tackle self-doubt. And this is not a one and done session where all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't it be great though if it was? I'm going to try to put it in a pill form and we'll market it. It'll make millions.
Right. Wouldn't that be awesome? But give a little, like a peek under the window. If I came to you and I said, you know what, my limiting belief is self-doubt, how would you help someone like me?
And it's interesting because self-doubt shows itself in everywhere, right? So self-doubt, I think there's the biggest disease in the world. I call it LSE. It's low self-esteem because it affects everything you do in your life. And when you make choices from that, it never ends well. So self-doubt is, like we talk about, whether it's in relationships, you might come with regard to, you might come with self-doubt around finances, health, what your life purpose is, or just, you want more inner calm and inner peace in your life. So it becomes a process that I've been doing with clients. Like I take them through a series of internal steps that I call whole life steps, basically to reset. So we actually go back and we look at what's the source? Like, where did this self-doubt come from? Because if we don't get back to the source and we get to the core issue and we re-perceive that from now as an adult and reacclimate it, we can just do surface things. But if we don't change it at the core, it's always going to flip back. So it's very challenging work. Some clients are like, oh, this is really challenging. I'm like, yes, it is. But in order to get the tree out, we have to get the roots. We want substantial, consistent, transformation. We don't want to have to come back and do this again. So if you're doubting yourself in relationships, for example, and you have, a lot of women come and they may be looking for someone and they've had past experiences that aren't great. So they doubt that they can choose someone. They doubt that someone's out there, that, they can't have it all. There's just doubt across the board. And so we go to like, where does that doubt come from? Like, why do you doubt that? And a lot of it stems to they think that they have to do it all. Like they think it's something outside of themselves that they need to get, instead of what I do is I have another set of steps I take clients through for relationships. Basically, it's the antithesis of what I do in relationships. I get them to the point where they don't actually need or want a relationship.
Ooh.
They're so secure in themselves and they're vibrating at this empowered, beautiful relationship with themselves, doing what they love in their life, that in order for anyone to come into their life, they better add something of great value, right? And now they're attracting from a place of wholeness. So they're not going to attract Mr. Affirm My Self-Doubt. They're not going to attract all these things that they previously had tracked. And that's one of the things I love working on with people, like relationships, because we think it's about the other person. And in these steps, there's like 20 steps. Only the first step is about other people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Because it all comes in. So once you build that muscle, right? So it's a daily practice. The self-doubt muscle has been built. It's been practiced. It's a thought that's been repeated that became a belief. And so I'm learning that it takes a minute, So
sure, of course.
we get to the core of it. How do we change that? And then what are the practices and new beliefs and then actions that we put into our daily basis until we catch up to actually, that becomes our new belief now. Sometimes it'll switch, but it's usually a wobble dance where we're like, oh, it's new.
Right.
Right. And that's where coaching comes in, because we speak every week. So there's this accountability that you're going to get stuff done. I'm on your team, but I'm also going to be like, I'm not going to let your self-doubt dictate your life anymore.
Sure.
You're going to come from that confident, universe connected self.
Yes. Ooh, which I like. Now, you mentioned something else. You mentioned energy and kind of getting your vibrational energy to the right place. Talk about how important you feel that energy is and people tapping into their energy in terms of coaching.
There is nothing more important. So if I could be a drug pusher, it would be called meditation. It would. This is what's funny because I would have been my worst client. I'm so like, show me. Okay. I was told to meditate. It took me 10 years to actually do it. And it literally, people say, what is meditation? Like very simply, it's have the practice of having a thought and letting it go. Having a thought, and that's all meditation is. And that allows your perception and your way of being in life to completely change. Like my mind literally is not the same mind that I once had previously. So and this is my belief, everything in the world is a reflection of my internal state. Energy is number one. I don't need to change anything on the outside world in order to feel okay. And that's where that inner peace and inner calm comes, because I'm in control of my responses. I'm in control of what goes in between my ears. And I believe that, it's a law of attraction universe. It's a like attracts like universe. Even us speaking today and meeting Laurie and just these like-minded energies starting to draw together, because that's where it's at. And it's like, I give people this example of how important energy is. If you're out at a club, right, and you walk into the bar, you can immediately tell who's who, right? You're like, oh, that one, he's out to blah, 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 or she's not really confident in herself. You don't even have a conversation. So we're walking around speaking to life, not with our words, but how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's how much power we have. We don't have to change the world.
Yeah.
Right? I get so excited because I'm like, you can literally change your whole life just by changing your relationship to yourself.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It has to start from
exciting.
within. It is.
Yeah.
It's super exciting. And I think it's probably really exciting for your clients to see your passion. Like I can feel your energy rise as you start to talk about it. And I would think it would be really hard for your clients to not want to be like, ooh, what are you drinking? Like I want some of that.
Give me some of that.
Is that Red Bull?
Yeah.
What is that's going on in you over there? Because I kind of want some of that.
What I love too is when they start to see the results in their lives, right? Either they'll leave a relationship or they'll get into a relationship or their finances start to rise up or they feel like, oh my God, this is what my purpose is. And they get on that road. Like everything syncs up just when they do this inner work.
Yeah.
And take action. But, we've got to take action.
Yes, they have to take action. How do you help clients identify action? What is action?
Well, inspired action. So it usually comes up from within. So when I started, I was like talking about the letter to the universe. That's a massive tool about connecting to your higher self. It's so funny. I gave it to my sister the very first time. I'm like, okay, write a letter to the universe. She wanted to know something. And I spoke to her a couple of days later. I go, so what did the universe say? She's like, I'm still waiting. I go, I'm so sorry I didn't make it clear. You need to write the letter back. She's like, oh.
It's not like funny. Santa Claus. He's not just going to deliver it the next morning, like poof, on the counter.
Yes. So it's like, I love, my clients, they're doers, right? So they love to do a list. They love to do a thing. And it's like, okay, write up your list. We'll brainstorm. We'll get all these tangibles. We'll ask the universe to guide us. And then it'll just present itself. And I say, well, what's the first thing you can do? Like if someone wants to get healthier, right? It's not like I want to lose X amount of pounds. I come back to like, do we just need to start by drinking more water? Like what's the first action you can take that points you in the direction of where you want to go? And it just will start to flow and come, And
you mentioned something before that applies here, recognizing your response to the question of what does the universe want from you as an instinctual response or a fear-based response, because there is a big difference. And coaches like you can help people identify what really is the instinctual response, even though it might feel a little absurd to people. So they go back to what's the rational response.
Yeah.
Which is often
we always
fear-based.
default.
Yeah, we always default to what's like, well, I want to say it's this, but that sounds ridiculous. Like, you know.
Yeah. Who am I? Who am I to have it all?
Who am I to
That's
think
crazy.
that I could be a famous writer? Like, okay, I'm not going to put that as my answer.
Yeah. It's going to keep that internal torture to myself. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
But teaching people how to be able to listen to that is a true skill that people can really benefit from coaches like yourself to learn how to listen to that instinct and have gotten past enough self-doubt that you can get to the self-trust to be like, that's coming up. It's coming up again. It's coming up again. It's going to keep coming up until it smacks me in the face.
Every time. By the time people actually call me, like I'm already commending them on their courage. You know, because it's like you believe in yourself enough and your soul is like, I'm done with how things are, that I'm willing to put myself in an uncomfortable situation and get the guidance that I need. Like I'm already like so brave right there, picked up the phone.
Right.
Mission started.
Yeah. So let's talk about your life a little bit. And I'm always curious about, well, you mentioned meditation, but like, what does wellness mean in your life and how do you maintain balance and grounding? Because I think sometimes people think like, oh, she's a life coach. She's got it all going on. She doesn't have to work at anything. And you and I both know that's not true.
No, it's a perfect enough.
Yeah. So if you would mind, share with people a little of the reality of what you work on every day and what does your life look like? And what are the things that you do that you suggest your clients try too?
Oh, absolutely. Well, meditation is number one, and it's not for me about doing it perfectly. It's like when you can get to it. In an ideal world, I wake up, I use my morning vision journal. Meditation is at the end of that. Great, get about my day. What it normally looks like is sleeping up. Are you out of bed, kids? Get in the car. Let's go. Right. And then I'll come back and before clients start, I will do that. And it's actually funny because my children, I have a 15-year-old now and a 13-year-old. So they're a little bit older. But when they were little too, they'd come to talk to the bedroom and they'd be like, Mom's meditating. Because I'm telling them, we can't talk to her now. And I'd be like listening to it. It's so funny.
Right.
But it really is like, for me, the wellness part of it has to be a priority. Like it means sometimes I don't pick up the phone to a friend. Sometimes I just need to get that done. Or I'll text them and be like, I get back to you in a little bit. But I need to make time to connect to myself because I'm a single mum. I have 2 kids. I have a business. I have a dog. And it could be a lot if I thought I had to do things perfectly. Yeah. Whereas it's like, no, it's not. So it's like, for me, I do a lot of writing because I find that writing things out really works for me.
Me too.
And it's just, I love it. And so that's really great. Lists are great. Affirmations are great, and it's really kind of like with clients, they're busy. I'm like, put your affirmations on your phone.
Yeah.
Put them on a bit of paper by the toilet. At some time during the day, you're going to use the bathroom.
Right.
Why not read your affirmations then? Right. It really doesn't matter. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, just incorporate it into your day. Like, you want this to be a way of being. It's sort of a lifestyle as opposed to, I'm going to pick this up and then I'm going to go do my life. It's like, how do I become this version of myself where I'm embodying it,
Right. Perfectly said that this is a lifestyle. But it's not, and which I think for some people, that's a challenge because we live in a society that's a quick fix. People want to take a pill and lose 20 pounds. And in the world,
and they do now sometimes.
Yeah, right. And they can.
Kind of joking.
It's right. But it's like in the world of personal growth and inner development and really getting in touch with yourself and getting inner peace, there is no pill. It is not quick. And so it is baby steps to changing your lifestyle and changing your priorities. So I love that you said that because that's important. Priorities are so important, especially as women. It's impossible to be perfect at all of our roles. It is just an impossible
Don't even
goal.
bother.
So why bother?
Let yourself off the hook. Like, stop it. Like, it's like, and I'm very with clients, I'm like, if it makes you feel bad, don't do it and stop thinking it. Like, it's real. And they're like, I go, who am I to do that? And I'm like, it just start by making a small choice. I go, because sometimes it's really uncomfortable for clients, right? When you've been a people pleaser, a lot of my clients are people pleasers, right? And I give them the definition. I go, actually, people pleasing is really selfish. They're like, And I'm like, no, because you're actually trying to make yourself feel better at the cost of another person. So it's actually, you think you're being nice and you are, your intentions are good, but you're actually serving yourself, So let's go to really serving yourself, which is really changing your relationship with yourself. So it's just, really putting that practice in of catching your thought, turning your thought, throughout the day, and sort of like, how do I be in charge of what I'm thinking now, as opposed to what I'm thinking be in charge of me?
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yes. You're guiding your ship instead of being guided. And how much of what you do in your life and in your day are you doing the guiding?
Yes. Yeah. And how much are you listening to outside influence instead of yourself, when you are with you literally 24 hours a day?
Yeah.
You have not, what goes on between your ears, no one has privy to, unless they're a mind reader. But most of the time.
And even then, your mind is talking all day long to you. So there's stuff going on all day.
Exactly. So why wouldn't you make that conversation fantastic? Oh, sorry. And I remember my thought. Because clients, when they're people pleasers, it's very challenging them to think they don't even know what they want. I didn't know what my favorite color was. I was a people pleaser. Right? I didn't know, what do I like? Well, I don't know. What do you mean? Like, I just, what do you want? What do you want to have for lunch?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I get them to start practicing by like, okay, when you go out to lunch or you're going to make dinner for family plans, whatever, just say what you prefer.
Yeah.
Just start, like, if there's a choice, start listening to what you would prefer and choose what you prefer. And let's start building that muscle and get to know yourself.
Right. And getting comfortable in what makes you feel uncomfortable, because that's not your conditioned way of being.
Yeah.
So
and if someone's got an opinion, yeah, exactly. And it's like, you can give your preference and then someone else can give their preference. Then you have a conversation. Like, you're not stepping on someone's toes by giving your preference. And what's very interesting though too, when you have been a people pleaser all your life and you do start to make that change, people around you, they don't like it. Because they're like, oh, you normally do what I want you to do that makes me feel good. Like, what do you mean you have an opinion? Like, it's uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
Some people will be your cheerleaders that are like, oh my God, finally. And then other people are like, the way you agree to this relationship was you make me feel good. And so you sometimes, when you transform out of relationships.
Yes, which I was just going to ask you that. Do you find that a lot of your clients end up having to change some of their relationships or change their social circles as they transform into being more their true authentic selves?
100%, because the people you've attracted were attracted to that old version of yourself. Now, there will be people in that friend group that will evolve and change with you. If they're not, it's not so much of like, well, I'm going to need to break up with you now. It's just, it becomes not a match and it'll fall away organically. It just is natural because it just doesn't behoove you. And then sometimes you're in the hallway and you're like, I kind of feel like I'm on my own now, universe. Kind of my buddies are all down there. Don't really see anything going on there. You just got to be comfortable. And it changes, in a minute. And then all of a sudden you meet these other like-minded people still growing.
Yeah.
But you've got like the same sort of growth mindset, I'll call it, which is just, so then when you have a conversation with someone, you've got two people who are looking inward first before projecting their stuff onto you.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Much more fun to live that way.
So much better. Yes, it is. But it's also scary, I think, from the people that I've met.
Oh, yes.
It is a terrifying journey to sign up for wanting to work with a transformational coach, knowing that life is going to change. And
you're going to change and your life is going to change.
And your life is going to change. And having the courage to recognize that, yes, that probably means some of the people, not everybody, but that means that some of the people in your life will probably need to phase out. But the good news is new people will phase in.
Yeah. And it's like, and sometimes like it betters the relationships. I've got clients that come that maybe were like, and it's so funny, a couple of them are like, I know I don't want to be with my marriage, but I'm never leaving because of fear, right? And a couple of years later, we're like, okay, so they've left and they're like, oh my God, because it's like neither of you are happy. but there's this construct or this belief system, they have to make it work. And it's like, if you really love someone, set them free, right? So give yourself that gift. But it was at the first, like literally they'll be like, and don't even tell me about leaving my husband because I'm not going to do it. I'm like, okay, fine. That's where we're starting. No problem. I don't know because I don't know what the end result. I don't have an agenda as a coach, right? I'm not like, you should do this with life. I'm like, let's discover what your authentic self and soul is calling and guiding you towards.
Right.
I'll call BS when I know you're making up stories to yourself because it's uncomfortable. But, only you ultimately know what's your authentic, what resonates with you as your calling. And people say, well, how do you know? And I'm like, it's like, when you know.
You know when you know.
If you don't know, if you don't know, it's a no or not yet, you know.
Yeah. And you probably do know. You're just not ready yet to face what you know.
Yeah. It takes a lot of courage. That's why I don't think coaching is for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people I had the mistake of, I was in a relationship one time and I thought, being this so nice person that I am, I thought, of course you want to change and grow.
Yeah.
And then I had the realization of like, oh no, you like your life how it is. I'm so sorry that I was thinking you should be X, Y, Z and reach your potential. Like, no, you get to do your life how you want to do it. I apologize because that's uncool of me to expect you to change because that's my journey that I want to be on that path.
And that's important. That's such an important point because it's the choice that we're making for ourselves. And it's hard to not want to judge other people that don't want to be.
Especially when you're right. I'm just joking.
No, it's true. But it's like when this is what you do for a living and you live in this space of coaching and personal development and self-growth, it's like, sometimes I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to do how do you not want to be better? Like, really? You think you're perfect? It is hard not to judge that personally.
Yeah. And they want to stay in the problem. Like, oh, you just like talking about the problem. Yeah.
But you're right. Some people that's their space or that's their space for now. And they're not on the same journey and you have to respect them for that and kindly just have them stay on the outskirts of your life because too much of that energy on you is actually not a positive either.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So who are your ideal clients?
I would say most of my clients are women and I do have a few men as well. Most of them are entrepreneurs. And really just sort of figuring out who they are. They're either wanting to figure out their life purpose, they're either wanting to be in or change a relationship. They are, I would say the through line is, as I said, we're coming from that people pleasing, overthinking, sort of do, want to figure it out sort of mindset instead of, cultivating that faith and trust and slowing down and ease. And so I think it's just really, women who they're just ready. They're ready to not give a BS anymore. They're ready to be who they really are. They're ready to just be like, you know what? I want to do life. Like I've been doing the shoulds, and I'm not happy. It's not fulfilling. Is this it? And so they're just like, they're ripe to be like, I'm ready to do the work to be me.
Now, do most people come to you and think, I'll work with her for a couple months and then I'll be good? And then they stay for years. And then they stay for years.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people ebb and flow, right? Because it's like, as I said, we are so used to wanting that when we get it, like, so the people, we do all the work, they meet the fantastic relationship, they may go off for a bit and then they come back and they're like, okay, now all my shit's coming up for real. I'm like, yeah, because you haven't been used to having, right? And so I have people like come and go. I've had a couple of people that have like pretty much been from the start, because their life's constantly evolving. And because a lot of them are entrepreneurs, I end up being like their silent business partner, right? Because they're entrepreneurs. They may even have a couple of people working for them, but they can't talk about their worries, fears, stuff, or business planning. Like we do business planning, we do tangible things as well. So it's like I've kind of like grown with their business, but I'm kind of like their consultant, guider, gut check.
Yeah, I was
and
just
also
going to say, you're
planner.
the check-in.
Yeah.
You're the check-in with someone that has their right intention and is in the right space to help with that gut check and can ask the right questions to uncover the right answers where that doesn't necessarily come from a spouse or a friend or a business partner.
You're hitting on something really, really important about coaching, which makes coaching as a coach yourself too, it stands out that Everyone else in your life has an agenda because what you do will affect them.
Totally.
I love you, but it's not going to affect my life.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, it's not. I love you, but
Right,
I'm going to go on and go do my stuff.
Totally.
So
The call is over and I'm moving on.
Yeah, I'm like, next. Love you to bits and pieces. I'm not going to be worried about whatever's going on later on. That's just how I am. And so when you're working with a coach, you get like, my agenda is your agenda.
Right.
It's what's best for you because nothing affects me in your life.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't get, like, there's no real mum, dad, brother, sister, sibling, friend. They're in your life. Whatever you do is going to have an impact. Even if they say it's not, they're going to go, what's this going to mean for me?
Of course. Or how is this going to make me feel about myself if you're doing this for you because we're still friends? And am I going to look at you and feel like I am doing nothing or I'm less than because you're off doing all this work and building and growing? And it's such a different dynamic when you work with a coach. So let me ask you, do you have a coach for yourself?
I do not currently have a coach for myself. I am a very big researcher, however. Like, I'm always evolving and researching and learning and reading. And I'm a systems person. So I love to go back like to the 1900s. Mm-hmm. And actually, like, if I was to say my coaches are, that would be like Louise Hay, Florence Scovel-Shinn. I do love Esther Hicks. Oh. There's a new guy, Basher, I listen to. And then I have a couple of friends that we're on this same path. And to be absolutely transparent too, Laurie and I, like, we have a meeting each week. Yeah. Like a business sort of accountability meeting. So
love that.
I could say technically we're coaching each other.
It totally counts.
So it's like,
it does.
So there's like, my life is set up in a way that sort of is fostering it constantly. So I'm really grateful for that.
And it goes back to your point about lifestyle. Continual learning, I feel like, for people that are in coaching, for people that are in spirituality, personal growth, trying to become their best selves, find their true self, have as much positive energy, attract what they want to attract, manifestation, all of those categories, people that are interested in those categories, there's continual learning. And it's part of what we do every day, whether it be listening to a podcast or watching something on YouTube or reading a book or, there's so much, or just even spending time inward is part of that journey and is part of that work. It's constantly working on growing, because it's not a destination. You're not done.
No. There's never there. There's never there.
There's never a there. Yes. So for people who don't want to dive in with one-on-one coaching, I know you offer other ways that people can tap into you and your brilliance. So share a little bit about that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have the journals, the morning and vision journals, for people that like to write. They're just simple 3 steps. Top of the morning, end of your day, check in. You get all ground is covered with that. And then I also have a coaching app, the Allow coaching app, which I really love in that it has, I think I'm going to change it a little bit actually, because I want to make it even more proactive, where you get like a daily action and accountability and have it in a community. So I'm in there. I'll give the action a day, and then you get to say done or not done, but not make it overwhelming, because I think we have so much going on.
Yeah.
And so that there's like trainings in there. There's all the tools I use in there. There's how to meditate in there. There's an audio book in there. There's a little mini course in there. There's lots of free stuff too, because I think you're right. People don't know me, like, you want to get to know each other.
Right.
And then I have like, the Pro Allow membership, which is, actually, when people join the membership, I like to do a one-on-one call with them, because I'm not so much about, sort of about doing things differently. I'm not about getting these really big numbers and having XYZ. I'm about connection. Yeah. And so to have a 20-minute conversation with someone on the app before they jump in to working on the app, so we know each other. So when I'm talking to you in the app, we've already got a connection.
Yes.
And then for some people too, they want to continue to have coaching in the app. So I have the Pro Allow membership, where you can direct message me and voice note me, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
And help you. Yeah. So it's kind of like me in your pocket a little bit.
Yes.
And it's a really great way for you to maybe get introduced to coaching with not a big investment.
Right.
Because there's if you just want to be on the app, it's like $29 a month. And if you want a direct coach with me, it's only $59 a month, which is, pretty reasonable.
Yes,
for investment.
reasonable to get an actual human being.
I'm a person. It's not a
an
bot and it's
AI
not
generated,
AI.
right? Not an
No.
AI generated response.
It's me sitting there. You might even hear my kids in the background as I leave a voice note. That's what's going to happen. Yeah.
But that's authentic. And you kind of sometimes need that personal one-on-one touch. And sometimes just as you're thinking about things, it's great to have a human being that you know has your back and you can ask a question of or pose something to that will get back to you quickly that you know you're like, okay, I align with that person's methodology, their way of thinking, their way of coaching without having to be fully all in.
Yeah, and that knows a little bit about you, right? That you're not just a number, you're not just a person. So I really, and I'm, it's a bigger comment, but I really feel like and I love America, but we're a little about the more concept.
Right.
Instead about the deeper connection ripple effect,
Yeah.
So like I might not need, people I think have this idea of like you need to reach thousands of people and it's like, or you have really solid transformation with a few people and that ripples out to the people they know. And then that ripples out to the people they know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of women are craving connection in a variety of ways, and that looks different for everybody. But I think the theme of connection, especially for women, at least all of the women that I talk to and interact with, there is a true desire to want to connect with more like-minded women while they're on their personal growth journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to be seen. Right. Because I think technology is great, right? It's like anything. It's great depending on how you use it.
Yeah.
If you use it to compare yourself, not so much fun.
No, right. Exactly. How are you using social media? Yeah.
Not great. But there's some really great stuff out there too.
Great stuff.
Like your podcast, right? Like there's great stuff, that's really helpful and beneficial. It's just where do you put your attention? And you can't do it all. So you just pick a couple of pods that speak to you.
Right. Exactly. And just listen to those. So what's on your bucket list for your future, either personally or professionally?
My future. Oh my goodness. I do want to take a trip to Paris since you ask. It's always been on my bucket list. Yes. I'd love to go there with my partner. That'd be fantastic. I really want to get this, my app really, it's got a few people on there. It's got my clients on there because I give it to them for free. But I'm like, I haven't really promoted that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I should probably do that. I'm very good at making things.
Yes.
I make journals. I make these things. Yes. I'm not so good at putting myself out there and marketing. So that will probably be a growth opportunity for me. So this speaking to you is like my foray into this new version of myself of getting comfortable of putting myself out there. So thank you for that.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I'm just excited to really walk the talk, and be a demonstration of, follow your passion and the money comes and the love comes and all that stuff comes. Like everything, your dream life is already within you. Right. And it's just letting yourself match it.
Yes.
And so the more people I can help do that, I'm just like, okay, life is good. Life is done. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read a quote of something that you sent to me, which is, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And I thought that was so powerful. I thought that was really great. That summarizes what you do really, really well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. So thank you for that. So before we go, I love to ask my guests to recommend a book that has impacted them personally or professionally. And you and I didn't talk about this in advance, so hopefully it's okay that I asked that question.
We didn't? You did.
I forgot to remind you. But I feel like books change lives, and there's a lot people can learn from just spending $25 or $20 on a book and reading a book and really learning from someone else's wisdom and experience. So is there a book that you would like to recommend?
I'm going to share what it is anyway, and then I'll couch it, whatever. So this book was written today, 100 years ago.
Ooh.
It is, 100 years ago by a woman, self-published back in 1925, called The Game of Life and How to Play It.
I knew you were going to say that.
Florence Scovel Shinn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I feel like I'm like airing on a bit of self-promotion. I am a little bit, because that book I give to every client when we start. I'm going, okay, this is your first step. You're going to read this book. And what happened was, hers was very religious, a lot of religious connotations and stuff. So because it was public domain, I went in and changed it all to universe.
Good.
And I changed all the male pronouns to neutral, because it was all he. And I'm like, okay, most of my clients are female. So I took all the religious stuff out. I took all the male pronouns out. And then I summarized her, because she never really put it into steps. So I summarized them in the back. So, and I call it the universe version. I wrote that book and rewrote that book, edited, I should say. She wrote the book, edited that book so many times. I will still open up that book and be like, what is that? Like it's like this magical little haven that she did. And I just am so blown away that she self-published it 100 years ago.
100 years ago. It is amazing. It was 1925. I have the book. It is truly, and it's a tiny little read. It's
tiny, and it's not that well written. Bless the cotton socks. It's really not. I'm like, this is not a literature. This is like, take what you want and leave the rest. It's bare bones. It's just to the point. And some of the examples are old school, but the message, and I say this to people all the time. I go, it's all the same stuff. People are just saying it in different ways.
100%.
And whichever way speaks to you, that's great. And you can't hear it enough times.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love her.
However it resonates, and you go back again and again and again. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. Thank you so much. Before we jump off, is there anything that you wanted to communicate, wanted to say that I did not specifically ask you? Because I want to make sure all my guests get the chance to talk about everything they want to talk about, even if I miss the opportunity to ask.
There's a lot of people in this industry and you might feel pressured to do X, Y, Z. But I think like yourself and myself, like when I say we'll have a 20-minute call, it's not a sales pitch. It's like get something out of the call. If it's of value to you and you want to get on the app and you want to work together, that's great. But I'm not about selling. It's got to be a match on both ends. So don't let your head talk yourself out of things because of fear of I'm going to be put in a position where I might, be uncomfortable. It's like, it's just about if something's for you, it's for you. And if it's not for you, then something else will be. But you took a first step, So I guess that's the only thing is like, just with coaching, it's like there's, been at this for 20 years now. It's like, it's a long time and it's evolved so much. It's so interesting to see how it's going. And just, it is really beautiful that it's become like, it's not a weird word anymore.
Yes.
Like life coach is not a strange word. It's like actually like manifest is not a strange word anymore.
No, universe is an okay term.
Weird. Yeah. Right? Universe is like we're met with a nod as opposed to woo woo. What's she talking about?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So no, but thank you. You've covered more than all bases. And this has just been an absolute joy.
Oh, my pleasure to have you on. And you said something that's so important. And I want to make sure we end with this, which was, to summarize one of the things you said, it was really, if something piques your interest, be curious and look at it a little bit deeper. And so if something on today's call piqued your interest, then go and follow Julianne and go set up the 20-minute call. And she might not be the right coach for you, or her platform might not be right, but you are expressing an interest in looking inward and doing the work and doing the journey work. And I think for all of us as coaches, that is the number one thing we want. And it's most important that you find the right coach and find the right modality for you, but just taking that step to be like, I'm taking an awareness that I'm interested, and lean into that, because that is the universe talking to you. So thank you. We will stay in touch. I hope to see everybody next week, the House of JerMar podcast, where wellness starts within. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the House of JerMar podcast, where wellness starts within. We appreciate you being a part of our community and hope you felt inspired and motivated by our guest. If you enjoyed this episode, please write us a review and share it with friends. Building our reach on YouTube and Apple Podcasts will help us get closer to our mission to empower 1 million women to live all in. You can also follow us on Instagram at House of JerMar and sign up to be a part of our monthly inspiration newsletter through our website, houseofjermar.com. If you or someone you know would be a good guest on the show, please reach out to us at podcast@houseofjermar.com. This has been a House of JerMar production with your host, Jean Collins. Thank you for joining our house.